If you've been to a grocery store recently, you've probably noticed a change. Several retailers, such as Loblaw and Walmart, are stepping up security with receipt checks, metal gates, and cart alarms. They say it's to deal with rising theft and organized retail crime. But it's not sitting well with a lot of consumers who call the new measures demeaning and angering, especially at a time when grocery store profits are soaring. Do shoppers have any recourse? And is there a better balance retailers could be striking? Our Sunday conversation panel is here with their take. In Ottawa, lawyer and director of the Domestic Policy Program at the Macdonald-Laurier Institute, Aaron Woodrick, and in Calgary, Zane Valju, partner with Norweather. Thank you both for taking the time. I want to start by getting both of your takes here and what you make of these new security measures that you're seeing at some of these grocery stores. How do they make you feel as a shopper? Zane, let's start with you.
I mean, as a shopper, you look at this and you're kind of confused because when you think about it, for the vast majority of Canadians, they have a certain sense of loyalty to the grocery chain that they go to. So literally seconds after they swipe their loyalty card, after they signal once again in a ritualized behavior that they've taken their groceries for the week, they get a security check. And then you add on top of that it's inconsistently applied across the country, that it is not something that we necessarily agreed to or that we were expecting or that was communicated. I'm in the bulk of Canadians who think this catches them off guard and is more than just a minor inconvenience. It actually kind of makes you think, wait, what do they actually think about me? Especially, well, let me be clear. If you look like someone like me and you have a history of having random checks in various locations across this country and abroad.
Aaron, how does it make you feel?
Well, look, there's no question it's annoying. I'm a Costco shopper, so I'm used to sort of handing over my receipt, and they have to sort of scan it, and they use a marker on it, and it seems really annoying. Now, Costco's a little bit different because it's a membership-based place, so that's part of the conditions of membership. That's not true of other grocery stores, so that's why it's striking people as very annoying. I think for a lot of people, it's angering because they view it as a presumption of guilt. They sort of say, I'm coming in here in good faith, I'm just a regular person, and yet I'm almost being treated just by being here as being under suspicion. I think that's what really angers a lot of people.
Okay, so we here at the CBC have reached out to Loblaw, one of the retailers with these new measures. Here's a little bit of what they told us. They said this: in recent years, there has been a substantial increase in what they call high-value theft from retail stores. They say this is not shoplifting. They say this is organized crime focused on products that are then stolen to be resold through online marketplaces. They said they've had to make some changes in how the store operates to stop this crime, while at the same time maintaining a welcoming and convenient customer experiences as well. They say they are working to find the right balance, and they are welcoming their customers' input. I'm wondering what you both make of this response. Aaron?
Well, I'm not sure they've found the balance yet based on the response from customers. I mean, in other retail areas, we've seen this in the past. People are familiar with those electronic tags. If you go to the mall and there's high-value items, those tags are placed on them. It's always annoying when you're walking to checkout and you've bought something and the clerk forgets to take the tag off, and it goes off, and it's sort of very embarrassing and annoying. So it's not as if these types of measures are completely brand new. They are new in the grocery sector. But I think governments retailers are going to have to think carefully about the trade-off here. How much good, how much theft is this actually stopping? And in turn, how much is that turning off your customers who may start looking elsewhere at other places where they don't have to face those measures?
Zane, do you buy what they're saying?
I don't, but I buy what Aaron's saying, because at the end of the day, this is about consumer psychology, and the grocery sector has been a master at consumer psychology. The reason that they put the vegetables and the fruits early is, yes, they want you to eat healthy, but they want you to make several decisions early so you cave later at the more expensive chips and the more expensive items that are probably maybe not so healthy for you. So these have been masters at psychology, and the reason I bring that up is that when you then announce you've got organized crime that's rampant throughout your stores, what are you doing to keep consumers safe? What are you doing, to Aaron's point, about if you're then, every time you walk into this ritualized activity, not once every 6 months, but largely once a week, maybe multiple times a week, and you've got this overhang as a customer of high anxiety, of feeling like you're guilty before, even having a chance to even think about anything and leave the store, people will look elsewhere. They will look online, they will look other places, they'll go to other stores. stores that are going to maybe be the converse of, or the inverse of some of these procedures that some of these big chains are setting up. And I think you're going to see that change if Loblaws and other stores don't communicate better in terms of this is what we are seeing, this is how time-bound these measures are, and this is what we're doing to keep you safe as a customer, not just prevent loss for us as a major conglomerate.
Okay, Aaron, you talked about Costco a little earlier, saying you yourself are a Costco shopper. We know Loblaw, Walmart, not the only stores that sort of have done this receipt check. Costco, as you said, been doing this for quite some time. But I wonder what the difference is here. Why do you think for some customers this feels different? Aaron, let's start with you. Yeah.
I would just say at Costco, people understand that's the price of doing business there. When you sign up, that's the condition. It's a membership-based retailer. What's different is that there was no such condition imposed at places like Loblaws and Metro before, or Walmart. So, people are seeing that change. I think the reality is that people are far more sensitive to these types of surveillance that they can see, that are visible. I mean, you go into a Walmart, I have no doubt, I don't know this for sure, I'm sure there are security cameras everywhere, but they're not intrusive, and people don't have it put in their face. And when you have measures like receipt checks, like at the self-checkouts where they sort of have yourself being watched on the screen and you can see that, and they're almost telling you, we're watching you, that's what starts to set people off. It's not that they're being watched, it's that they're sort of being so brazen about it and putting it in your face, it makes people uncomfortable.
Zane, you were nodding in agreement there. What do you think?
Well, I think there's a few differences between Costco. I think Aaron listed number one, it's a membership base, so you've signed up for it. In addition to that, though, there's some minor things that are worth mentioning. Number two, it's consistently applied. Everyone who leaves that store has to get a mark on their receipt, and every Costco you go to, it's applied. Not the same for Loblaws, not the same necessarily for Walmart, where it's inconsistent. And I think the third thing to mention here is that the person at Costco that marks your receipt is a Costco employee. And in many of these places, we're seeing, third-party security contractors who are looking at your haul that you have, that are kind of monitoring you, that are kind of hovering over you. That's a very different vibe than having someone who helped you in aisle 9 also with that same little vest mark off your receipt and wish you a good day. And I think there's that basic human element that's turning off a lot of people, not just that they didn't sign up for it, but that this is actually pure surveillance versus, maybe a bit of loss prevention, but also at the end of the day, Costco's policy says we're doing this to make sure you also didn't get overcharged as well.
I wonder how profits kind of play in here, because just this week, Loblaws announced another huge quarter of profits. Do you think PR-wise, all these new security measures, plus the addition of more profits is kind of making this more off-putting for people? Aaron?
Well, look, if the complaint is we need these security measures because we're losing so much money from theft, and at the same time you're turning out record profits, I think a lot of people are going to sort of roll their eyes. Now, that's not to say that it's not true. They may very well be experiencing more theft. And, there is a case to be made that it is also in the consumer interest, right? If a business is losing a lot of money off stolen goods, they might raise their prices elsewhere to make up for it. But I don't think that the retailer's done a very good job messaging this. I think it might have been better if they had, rather than sort of rolled this out in some places, sort of messaged it in advance to saying, look, and it said, rather than reactively that we're trying to find the balance, stated that up front. I think people might have been a little bit more willing to accept it if it had, not looked like they were apologizing after the fact.
Zane, is there anything customers can do you think, to show their displeasure? Is there anything that you're doing?
Well, I think many people are taking online. They're, talking to interviewers like the CBC and other folks who are out there in community reaching out to people. You're seeing many folks are not just taking online, but now going online to do their grocery shopping. But I think at the end of the day, one thing we have to realize is that one of the reasons that Loblaws can just get away with this is basically the grocery monopoly that we have in this country, right? They can be so brazen, they can be so quick, they can be so poor at messaging, as both of us have talked about, but still not really care because you've got no choice. If you want low-ish prices, you're going to come to us. You're going to come to one of our sort of sub brands if you don't come to us on the main brand name. And so at the end of the day, this is really about folks maybe realizing how monopolistic our grocery system is in this country, and how brazen and frankly how lazy in certain ways these grocery chains can be on messaging and still get away with it because you've got really no choice outside of a few directional things that you can do.
Okay, so they talked to retailers, did about striking a balance here. Lightning round, we don't have that much time left. I'm wondering, what do you think they could be doing, retailers, to be better at this, to not irritate people as much as they are? Aaron, what do you think?
I would look at measures that are not intrusive and in your face. I understand the need for any business to want to reduce theft, but you've got to look at ways, you've got to consider the psychological impact on your customers when you're doing it.
Zane, final word to you.
Yeah, I would be very careful if a grocery chain starts saying, oh, yeah, we're going to start doing cameras and stuff, because to me, that is the next level of this. That is even more deeper surveillance. We don't want more surveillance. We actually want more safety. So this is about shopper safety, not loss prevention. I would couch it in that as a pure strategy play if I were these grocery chains.
That was our Sunday conversation panel with Aaron Woodrick, lawyer and director of domestic policy program at the Macdonald Laurier Institute, and Zane Velji, partner with Northweather.